Welcome to Vermonters in Business, where we highlight some of the very best business leaders in our state and the amazing things they're doing in their communities. People of Vermont, welcome to Vermonters in Business, where our mission is to highlight the businesses and business leaders in our state that are doing incredible things in both the work in their communities and in their businesses. I am your host, Drew Kinney, insurance agency owner, technology investor, and investment property owner. Joining me today, as always, is my co-host, Travis Spencer. He is a serial entrepreneur, a local business enthusiast, shop local all day, every day. And of course, around here, we know him as a world-class insurance agent. King of the hot take, Travis Spencer. How are we doing today?
Doing great. Happy to be back here and doing some more interviews.
Back on the microphone.
Yes, love it.
We've got a great show today. I'm pretty excited about it. So we have an outstanding guest today. And the exciting thing about it is she has one of the bugs that I have, which is video. And it's not an easy thing. It's one of those things that she's doing the thing that I wish I could almost do every day, which is get in front of the camera and record and help people do exciting, fun things. So please join us in welcoming Amanda Grant. Amanda Grant is the founder and creative force behind North Road Productions, a women-owned videography and video strategy company for small businesses. Amanda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, first podcast, or what's the deal?
Yeah, no, this is I usually stay behind the camera, so this is the first for me. So I appreciate the empathy that I'm going to get and getting some time in front of the camera too. So thanks.
It's a challenging thing to get people in front of the camera. So it
really is.
I agree with you.
Yeah. You've got a hard job when you're behind the camera, but then it's also tricky to transition and get in front.
Yeah, I agree.
So Amanda, we do kind of this fun thing where we kick everybody off and we get them in what we call the Vermont Hot Seat questions, and these help people get a real feel for the things that are unique to you as a Vermonter. Are you ready for the Vermonter Hot Seat?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. What are you having with your maple syrup? Pancakes or waffles?
Ooh, I got to go with the waffle, just because there's so many places for the good stuff to settle into, and it creates that even distribution.
Yeah,
that's really important.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think our
For
guests
syrup,
so far have
toppings.
heavily favored waffles.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Well, I'm sure
I'm
we'll have some more pancakes coming along. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't get rid of a pancake.
Yeah. Don't feel bad, Zach. You're not the only one. All right. And then a perfect day for you. Is it a winter day at the mountain or a summer day at the lake?
I gotta say summer day at the lake. The lake is just any lake. Honestly, fall, spring, pick a season.
Yep.
The lake is where it's gotta be for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Water's very therapeutic.
Yeah, it really is. That breeze coming off the water. Yeah.
Yep. And we wait all year for it, right?
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Now, it's your birthday dinner, and you can go anywhere in the state. What restaurant are you going to?
Ooh, I've lived in the area a long time, and Single Pebble has been really kind of a favorite. It's just that Asian fusion and just like really unique items on the menu, and the atmosphere is really cool, and the table spinny thing in the middle is really neat. Yeah, so I really enjoy that.
I love when you can do like the family style order too, of like all these items, and it's just you just go to town on it. So, no, that's a great answer. And then when you're out on a hot summer day and it's time to order a creamy, what is your creamy order?
Ooh, so my creamy location is Palmer Lane Maple. Like that's my location.
We've gotten a lot of votes.
And I've heard it, I've seen it, and I agree. But they also do really creative things with their creamies too. So maple is my base, but you can twist it with a lot of different things. So I'm gonna say the maple as the base. And they do a really great maple. They come through in the winter time too.
Yeah, I love it.
When you need that hit in the winter time.
That is true. That is true. And sometimes you do need that hit in the winter time. It doesn't matter if it's like -5.
Right.
There's no wrong time for creamies.
Still have their creamies.
No.
The temperature doesn't matter.
Exactly. I'm also an iced coffee year-round person too.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
If that ends up being a question, that's 100% me too.
Maybe we'll have to add that. But I do think that's more common than we give people credit for.
Exactly.
I'm actually kind of the opposite. I mean, I love the iced coffee, but my problem is I'll chug it. It's like I need the hot to like slow me down.
Right.
And so like it could be like 100 degrees when I'm drinking hot coffee. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I'll do it.
Gotcha.
You're a cold brew guy, right, Travis?
Cold brew all the time. I hate hot coffee. So.
Yeah, I don't like hot coffee either, really. Yeah.
I remember when you first started drinking coffee. It was a new thing for you.
Well, it was. Yeah, I had an energy drink addiction, and a couple of years ago I gave up sugar, and so part of giving up sugar was I had to find caffeine fix, and I went to cold brew. So,
good for you.
Nice. Well, that's all we have for the Vermont Hot Seat questions. So I will transition over to Travis, who will get us into, kind of some of the business questions and things that make, North Road Productions great.
Right.
Thanks, Drew. As Drew mentioned, we're kind of aspiring videographers ourselves,
Right.
very novice, as you can see with everything in here. But for everyone else, what is a videographer?
Well, yeah, so there's a couple of different things with videography. So if you say, I tend to say videography with people just because they recognize what that is. Like, they understand that, like, oh, you have a camera and you make videos happen. So videographer can be a lot of different things, and depending on what type of work that you do. For me, I call myself a videographer because it's recognizable, but I also call myself a video strategist, specifically because I work with businesses. There's a lot of times where people don't really know what kind of video is going to work for their business.
Right.
So part of what I do with them is talk to them about what it is that they want to accomplish, or what's the reason that they want to do video in the first place. And so we kind of figure those things out. We figure out what types of videos are going to work for you. What are your goals? Where can video save you money if you're a solo entrepreneur, things like that. So for me, a videographer, because I am a solopreneur, I do all of it. So I do, we capture the footage, which is like this, doing the production type stuff, and then I do the editing. So I do all the editing as well, and then I partner with people to help figure out where you're going to put your video. Like, how is it going to be seen? Because what good is a video if nobody is seeing it? So either that's going to be on your website or on YouTube or on social media. So that's kind of how I think of videography, but videography can be applied in a lot of different ways.
Well, we've used video for a couple of years, just kind of amateurly, if you will, and for content. So what's a good reason for a business to use video?
Yeah, so I think video, for me personally, video is a great way of connecting people with customers, clients, or just even getting people to know you before anyone even meets you, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know like the insurance world's a pretty big business, right? So there's a lot of competition out there. So what's going to set you guys apart? What's going to set any individual apart in their business from everybody else that's doing that type of work? And it's going to be the personal relationship you have with them, or the trust that you have with them, or maybe there's a certain connection, there's something that it is that you like about that person in particular. I feel like video is a great way to kind of share that, especially coming out of COVID, when a lot of people couldn't get to retail spaces. They couldn't have those one-to-one interactions. Right. So video is a great way to substitute for that, because right now, if you've never met me before, you can hear my voice and you can see what it's like to talk with me, and you know what I look like, and I'm recognizable. So I think that kind of sets people apart. It helps to develop the trust and the sort of confidence in working with someone before you even meet them, which I think is a really great way to set yourself apart from your competition, and it's a great way to kind of communicate who you are, what you do, how you do it, that kind of thing.
And people are more apt to, I think, get information through a video more than reading.
Yes.
I try to use video daily when I'm doing quoting and things along those lines, just because I think the customer is really going to understand what I'm presenting more.
Right.
So for a business owner, that just seems to make more sense.
Yeah, and there's statistics around that too, that you will absorb more information from a video than when you read it in text. So it's another great way of people to get information, to absorb information. A lot of times people will purchase a product after seeing a video about how it's used, or a description about it. So I think it's a great way of connecting people with products and services, setting yourself apart from others, and just a great way of just sharing more about who you are and what you do.
I know we were talking earlier before we started, one of the things you were saying, it's difficult sometimes. Businesses want a video, but then they find out you want them in the video.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for the business owner sometimes to get in front of the camera.
Right.
But it's their story, it's their business, so it's pretty vital for them to do that.
Right, 100%, yeah. And that's something I try to communicate with people, and I try to work with people as well. Are there ways to have a business video and not be in the video? Yes, there are ways of doing it. We can certainly figure that out, but if you are the business owner, or you're the face of your company, it's important for you to be in the video so people see you, because if you expect someone to come to your office to have a meeting with you, they're going to see you anyway. So that's part of what I do, is helping people with their scripting, making sure that they feel comfortable. The beauty of digital video is you can see it right away, and if it doesn't look great for you, we can try something different, or change the editing, or the pacing of the video makes a difference sometimes too. Like, some people will really enjoy kind of more of a slower conversational, or depending on the type of work that you're doing, could be more fast-paced. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of put yourself out there and sort of share your brand around things other than what you're saying on camera.
And you can take a video and really get a lot of content out of that, as we discussed earlier, talking about long form, shorts, different things.
Yep.
So you could sit with a business, do a lot of video, and then they could have multiple uses for that after
Right.
the fact.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I actually encourage that. So when I'm talking with people, I say, let's get all of your ideas out on the table. Like, let's decide everything that it is you want to do. And then we can plan and phase those things out based on your budget or your timing, whatever the case may be. And the more we're able to record, the more that we're able to use. So if we're able to record maybe what I would call longer videos or 2 to 3 minutes,
Yep.
but you can make 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and that can be your social media content. It can be Reels. It can be on Facebook, wherever you like to put it. YouTube Shorts. So there's a lot of different options. Even LinkedIn, you can put video on LinkedIn. So there's lots of different options for once you spend time getting that footage. There's lots of different ways that you can use it after the fact. Yeah.
I'm going to show my age with this question. I remember as a child, people with the big camera, on their shoulder at the weddings, and then we went down to camcorders, and now everyone has a camera on their phone. So technology is rapidly changing, especially in this type of industry. The new hot buttons are obviously like AI, Chat GPT. What are you seeing in your industry as far as technology changes, and how does that impact you?
Yeah, so in speaking with people who have, a lot of us who have cell phones have cameras on us all the time, and they're high quality cameras, and they're getting really, really good.
Yep.
So what a lot of the messaging in the video world, at least that I'm seeing, is use what you have. Upgrade when you feel ready to upgrade, but your camera and your camera phone is going to be really, really good for a lot of your needs. If you want to do something simple for basically just your work, or even your family, if you want to record videos of your family and things like that, that'll be great. And that will work perfectly fine. The other thing is around this ChatGPT, because part of what videographers are also doing besides the production and the editing is scripting and helping people come up with their ideas for their content and then filming the content. So people themselves can have really, really good help with things like ChatGPT to help them come up with ideas. But it's also a great way to sort of come up with the scripting along with it. And so it's really, I think what people have said is that AI is not going to replace the need for videographers, but you're definitely going to set yourself apart from people who are using it versus not using it. And I think that's going to be the case with AI in general, across the board in any industry.
Agree. Completely agree. I think it's if you can leverage it, it can enhance your business and what you're trying to do, versus necessarily replace it. So the people that kind of get behind it early, adopt it, and start looking at ways that they can use it to make things better are going to stand out. And people that don't, those are the ones that potentially could be left behind.
Yeah, and I mean, especially for creatives, there's time-saving elements there, which I think are going to be really key. So I think the interpersonal nature of creating video is not going to go away, because there are always going to be people who want to have higher quality, but you can't spend all that money on equipment yourself, and there's a lot to learn about it.
There is.
I'm sure you guys don't know anything about that, right?
It's funny too, because you can get so caught up into, I need this light, I need this mic, I need this, and you're doing this when you need to just be pushing record and honing that in first before you dial in the rest of that stuff, because there's a lot more that goes into getting in front of the camera and talking, and that's one of the things I think I love about what you described, is position yourself as that guide, because I think a lot of times people get on social media, and we're scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and we see like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but they don't understand the pre-work that went into that, and that's where you need somebody like yourself that can come in and say, okay, what is it we're trying to accomplish? What is our target audience? And are we reaching them with that script, or should we try this approach or that approach?
Right.
So I think it's great that you kind of get in there and you help folks, from the beginning to the end, because it's a lot more than that 1 minute clip that we watch for 30 seconds on Instagram, right?
Exactly. And I mean, sometimes you'll see the things that go viral the most are the very organic sort of people holding their phone in front of their face things, and it's very casual. Because the thing is you can chase the gear all you want, but the story is always going to be key. Like the connection that you have with messaging, that whatever the video is trying to communicate, that's always going to win out. And it can be recorded, on a potato, but as long as that story is really good, people will connect with it, and it's going to be powerful. Humans really connect with stories. So I try to weave that in wherever I can. Like, what is the goal of our video? What are we telling people people about, do you want to tell people where you came from, your origin story, that kind of thing. I call it the superhero origin story. Like, where did you come from? Or your villain origin story, whatever you enjoy more, right? So I try to tell people to connect with that, because that's what people will connect with, and it's going to be less about the quality of everything that came out. But obviously, like, when you feel ready to upgrade quality, I would just say, don't let the gear hold you back.
Right.
Tell the story. The story is king, and or queen in my case.
Yep.
Story is queen, and then the gear and all of that can come later as you get into it. But don't let yourself be overwhelmed. Practice. The practicing is the biggest thing. Practice being in front of camera.
Yeah.
Doing it. You guys, I bet you're going to feel so much different at the end of it versus you're going to watch your first one. You're like, man, what?
Yeah. I felt myself being nervous just on the beginning intro, and I'm like, I've done this a million times. What are we doing?
Exactly. Yeah. So the more practice with it, just keep doing it. People will want to share things that are relatable, and they're that kind of either educate them or entertain them, or both. If you can check multiples of those boxes, that's what people will engage with. But like I said, story is the biggest one.
What's your process like? So somebody reaches out to you, whether it's on your website or somewhere. What's kind of your high level process that you kind of walk them through, and how does that kind of work?
Yeah. So I meet with people, and I do kind of a little bit of what I mentioned before, is just we kind of do the big download. It's like, so how did you get to me? It's like, if I ask you, what do you think about with video for business? Like, what does that mean to you? What is that idea? And you might have a different thought of what that is. Yeah. So I'm talking with people, and I find out where did you come from? How did you get here? What's interesting about video for you? Maybe you've seen something, etc. And then depending on what type of business it is, what are your goals? So is there, do you want to get more clients or customers? Are you maybe taking a lot of customer service calls, and that there's something that can be answered with a video? If it's taking a lot of your time as a business owner, where can we save you time? I like to think of myself as a problem solver with videos. So how many different ways can we apply a video to solve these things for you? Maybe you go to a lot of trade shows, and you want to have people be able to look at a video right away, instead of like, oh, let me get back to you later with an email or something like that. So there's great opportunities for people to connect right away. So we sort of download all of that information, and I find the biggest scope of what people are interested in. And so there are some times where people, like, if you have particular amounts of knowledge that people are always asking you about, maybe an online course is a good thing for you. Maybe you need a brand message video, which kind of is your, again, your superhero origin story. How did you get here? Where did your business come from? Like, why did you start doing it? So we cover all the different types of things that they might be interested in. And then from there, it's kind of prioritizing them. Because I'm a big idea person, so the problem is sometimes I have a ton of ideas, and then I don't do anything, because there's just too many ideas. I'm like, I want to do them all. Which one do I do? And then nothing happens. So I'm trying to help people not be me, and move forward and prioritize the things that they're interested in. And then so we sort of tackle those one by one. And, as I said, if we can get a big footage collection day, we'll do that. And then we'll be able to knock off as many of those as possible. Again, based on budget or their timeline, if they have any kind of things like that going on. Some people have events. I've recorded events as well. So there's really a wide variety of options. And part of my role is to help people figure out what their options are. Or maybe they're like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. That's a really cool idea. That is something I'd be interested in doing. So, so we discuss all those things, and we kind of I don't bill based on time. It's sort of by the project. So I want people to know right away what it is that they're going to what their expenditure is going to be, because I think that is a barrier sometimes. People think that they can't afford video work. So I want to make it accessible, especially for smaller businesses, and because that's what I am. I'm a smaller business too.
Well, and that triggered something for me when you're watching TV and you see commercials. If someone's thinking about marketing and doing a TV commercial, and this isn't nothing negative against the TV stations who sell you the packaged product, but a lot of times they do stills. They might just take photos of your establishment or maybe your people and put it together in the commercial, where a video is going to capture that better. So if people are thinking about doing some on-TV advertising, that'd probably be good to reach out to you first and have a conversation about how video could be used in place of.
And I think I know what you're saying. It's like they take it's sort of like a slideshow or moving images, but it's not. In my opinion, it's not really the same thing. Like I also do real estate estate video, and when you watch a video of a home, it's very different than just seeing the still pictures. You get a sense of really walking around it. Even different as more different than those the 3D walkthroughs as well.
Yeah.
So there's different creative things that you can do that kind of give it that uniqueness. So I would, of course, personally, because I'm in video, I would go for straight video, like people on a video talking about what it is they do, their services, things like that, versus something that is more of like images, because you're not getting that kind of, you might not necessarily get that audio connection. You know, someone's talking, like the gestures that I'm making are unique to me and you and how we interact with people, and you're not going to get that necessarily in a still picture that's just kind of transitioning across the screen. But yeah, I think when people are creating content, I tell them that it should just be genuine to you. Don't go with the fads, because if you're going with a fad, that could transition, and it's not something that you're going to stick with, especially if you're interested in social media or doing social media. You're not going to stick with it if it doesn't feel genuine to you. If you're just chasing the trends, it's not going to work out for you. So what I tell people to do is social media is important, but have it be genuine. Share something and give something of value about your business. Because if you're sharing something and giving something of value about your business, that person is immediately getting a win, and they're like, oh, and that's how you're building the trust with them, because you're already giving them value without nickel and diming them for the value. So,
and the value is so important, because there's so much noise out there. I mean, I forget how many videos or what it is that pieces of content we see in a day, but it is astronomical. So if you have not bringing value, you're just getting lost in the noise.
Right.
So I love that you kind of dialed in and say, all right, how can we bring value to this? You know, what's going to bring that, you know, and what's going to keep people, you know, watching our videos, you know, learn about our business, relate to us, connect to us at emotional level.
Right.
Because that's where the difference is made.
Right, exactly. Like, you know, I was saying to you guys before we started, there's lots of people in the insurance business, but it might be the fact that they saw you guys having a conversation with someone here and they really, you know, connected with you, and that's the difference for them.
Right.
And that personal connection is kind of what a lot of businesses are going for, is like that's what's going to get them telling other people about you. You know, a lot of people can be great at their work, but if they don't connect with you personally, it's not going to make as much of a difference. So I feel like video is a great way to be able to connect with people that way. To kind of get past that initial barrier of like, why should I work with you? Why should I hang out with you?
And I think most people go to social media now before they do something, before they're making a decision, whether it's a restaurant, hiring a tradesperson. I mean, I know I'm guilty. If you don't have a website, I'm probably not going to reach out to you.
I'm kind of like that as well.
So I think people are doing that pre-check, if you will, and so they want to see that video. And I think that there's a lot of industries who don't use video. And to your point, if you're one of those, if you're either younger or someone who's embraced it, especially in like the trades or other things, show your work, show it off in a video. You know, and I think that it's going to help with the consumer making that decision early on. Yeah,
and even in that space too, testimonials are really powerful. Like it's somebody who you could have a video that essentially not necessarily feels like a sales video, but it's someone just talking you up because they had a fantastic experience with you, and you're not in the video at all. But that person was someone who had a problem solved by you or your